So before I sort of launch into, I guess, the presentation, what I'd like to talk about is, I've been in this role in this game for about 20 years, and I spend quite a bit of my career worrying and focused on the confidentiality of information, so trying to keep information secret. I also worry and have worked a lot around the integrity of information, trying to make sure that information is accurate, and of course availability of that information as well. And I find it a little bit ironic that with that focus, particularly on confidentiality, that these days, if anything, we are going the opposite way, and we are trying to become more open and share more. And today's event is a great example of how, although we still take a lot of time and effort to keep things confidential, we are also trying to increasingly become more open and share, and that's really around collaboration, and that's going to be a bit of a theme for what I speak about today. Now, Greg's already mentioned that I've got quite a challenging role. I work for one of the larger banks in Australia, quite well established, both Australia, New Zealand, and of course the region, quite a number of staff, and we make a little bit of money. We take information security, though, very seriously, as you would expect. We invest a lot of time and effort and resources in making sure that we build customer confidence and trust. Now, a key tenet of our information security strategy is community, and it's that sort of theme that I'd like to talk to today in particular. Before I get into the cyber, I thought I might talk a little bit about some of the broader trends or disruptors, influencers, shall we say, that we're all experiencing. We live in interesting times. So infrastructure revolution, so the advent of cloud computing, therefore increased reliance upon outsourced providers, bearing in mind cloud computing is just my information on someone else's computer, right? Let's be very clear. High-speed internet and the advent of bring your own computing, or BYOD. Information explosion, right, or the digitalisation of data. Effectively big data, the Internet of Things. I saw a fantastic statistic the other day. It goes along the lines of whenever the first device was connected to a network, that point in time until 2011, it took that long for the number of those network-connected devices to equal the population of the world. It took another 4 years, only 4 years, for that number to double, right? So truly exponential in terms of the Internet of Things. And of course, those devices are all sharing information, a lot of information, and that obviously has security considerations. We're always on and we're always connected. I'm sure, like me, many of you probably check your phone and your email the last thing before you go to sleep at night, and of course, it might even wake you up in the morning. We are sort of blurring that boundary between professional and personal lives. We have social media, mobility. We are truly always on. The future of finance, so from a banking point of view, some fantastic developments coming down the path. So, obviously mobile banking, blockchain technologies, digital currencies, and of course a fast evolving and rapidly establishing fintech ecosystem. We have evolving regulation, again, not just for banking financial services, but indeed across many industries, particularly focused around data protection, privacy, and availability of technology services. And of course, cyber has gone mainstream. I mean, this is an example of it. 20 years ago, I couldn't fill a room, right? Or cyber's the new black, put another way. So I talk obviously with my peers about cybersecurity in a work context, but also I talk increasingly with my group around cybersecurity outside of the industry, shall we say. I talk to my parents, the silver surfers, who they're known as, about cybersecurity. And my children, my kids, they also learn about cybersecurity or cyber safety at school. So cyber is very much a topic of interest. And of course, with executives and directors as well, in terms of, I guess, the top end of organisations. So digital and the internet presents fantastic opportunities in terms of connectivity, in terms of speed, and in terms of enablement. But of course, we all know, and I think what we're interested in hearing about, is it also presents challenges, particularly around cybersecurity risks and threats. Now, we have an annual corporate sustainability survey that we put out across stakeholders, both internal and external. It's online, so you can have a look. And this is just one sort of chart that we've taken from it. But a particular interest here is that we know that data security is really of interest to our key stakeholders, right? In fact, it's of the most interest. So the last 2 years running, the topic of data security and technology has been in the top right quadrant. And indeed, in 2015, the most recent report is the furthest top and to the right. So therefore, we do know that it is of particular importance to our stakeholders. Now, the challenge we have, though, is we have a lot to protect, right? Now, this is just an example of a network diagram. It's not ANZ, but we would have one very similar, and I'm sure Mike has got an even bigger one from a Telstra point of view. But it gives you an idea that it's very complex. And of course, complexity is a cybersecurity killer in the scheme of things. In the good old days, we used to have a secure perimeter. You had a firewall, you had some antivirus, you might change a password every now and again, and you're pretty much done, right? These days, that is age-old thinking, right? And indeed, that perimeter has very much devolved. We have, as I said before, mobile technologies, we have bring your own computing, we have flexible workforce, etc. That perimeter is very much disappearing. And of course, it's not just the technology side, which is very important, it's also the people aspect. And so that question at the bottom there is, who is your perimeter, I think is equally of importance. We invest a lot of time and effort, both ANZ, but indeed similar organisations, around technology controls, as you'd expect. But we also are focusing increasingly on people controls, or the people perimeter. Human firewall is another example. So, for example, you think about a phishing email, a phishing attack. We spend a lot of time and effort trying to filter out those emails, and yet they still get through. So that sort of human education, that cyber-safe culture is equally important. And of course, for your own environment, it's very important that you understand where your information is, what is of most importance, who's looking after it, and what do you need to do to deploy your scarce resources to protect it. Now, Mike has a great summary on this, so I won't steal his thunder, but he'll take us through that, I believe, in his presentation. So we know the landscape is evolving. We know that security is important to stakeholders, and we also have increasing complexity. And cyber attacks are increasing. The examples are on screen are a number of, and again, you've probably seen the headlines, of data breaches, typically in the recent past. Each of those numbers is really an indication of the number of customer records or credit card numbers, etc., that were disclosed in those breaches. Some of these keep on giving as well, and several sort of high-profile ones just of recent times. Now, the fact of the matter is, although we spend a lot of time and effort on prevention, as we should, it's not if, but when we're going to have some kind of cyber incident or cyber attack. So therefore, how we detect, respond and recover is crucial, absolutely crucial. And we call this cyber resilience, all right? Now, cyber resilience and the way we treat this is really just another important business risk. And as per any other important business risk, you should understand it, you should prepare scenarios, and you should drill for when things go wrong. And again, that goes back to executive awareness and education. And again, cyber has gone mainstream, and so there very much is the interest at that level in terms of dealing with this. So what can we do? Now, other than just working with our own organisations, and to be clear, I get paid to defend and protect ANZ's assets and customer information. If I do that, I've done my job. But I believe quite strongly, as do many of my peers in the industry, that we are stronger together. And because we form part of our national critical infrastructure, there's almost a moral obligation for us to extend beyond our organisational boundaries and to collaborate in order to improve our defences. Put another way, the bad guys collaborate, so therefore, why don't we? Now, we can define our community in many different ways, but I believe it should be all-encompassing. And to give you a couple of examples of the type of collaboration can take many forms on the screen there. Now, events such as today are a great example, helping to raise awareness, educate and connect across our community. Within the financial services industry, particularly the major banks, we are very open in terms of the information that we share, threat intelligence. Now that comes with risk, right? For us to share this information, even within those circles of trust, it does carry risk, but we do it. And we do it because we believe strongly that it's the right thing to do, that if we lead and we do that, others will respond in kind, and we will be stronger as a whole as a result. Mike Burgess and I, for example, just yesterday, were emailing amongst a group of heads of security from a number of different organisations. Again, very openly, it wasn't too sensitive, so the email was okay. A call I took this morning from a colleague of mine who works in North America, another example whereby we are very open in terms of sharing. We work quite closely and increasingly with government and non-profits. We understand and believe that the recent cybersecurity strategy refresh is very much a step in the right direction, and we welcome further collaboration along those lines. We also collaborate with universities and research organisations. Again, we focus a lot on emerging technologies, but increasingly on the human aspects as well to try and improve our defences. And of course, trying to build the workforce or the cyber workforce of the future is absolutely key to us. So in closing, digital and the internet presents huge opportunities, but also huge challenges. Cybersecurity, we know, is important to our stakeholders and crucial to being able to realise these opportunities. It's not easy, and incidents will happen. How we prepare for those incidents is crucial, and collaboration beyond our organisational boundaries is absolutely key to making ourselves all the much stronger. So thank you very much.